Welcome back to the Destiny Manifest podcast. I'm Jay, and in today's episode, I want to share with you three main reasons why you may not be seeing your manifestations come to fruition. So, whether you want to manifest health, or a car, or more money, or you want to pay down your bills, or a house, you get the point, right? It's like here are three things that might be blocking your manifestations that you may never have thought of before. And like maybe you've done all the work, maybe you've read all the books, you've listened to the mentors, you've done the meditations, you've done the manifestation techniques. It's like you've done everything and you're not seeing anything happening for you. Or maybe you'll see some progress, but then you'll slip right back and lose everything, right? It's like, what happened? All right, I'm going to share it with you. I'm not going to waste any more time. Reason number one, epigenetics. Now, when we think of epigenetics, we often think of diseases, right? Like, oh, if your great aunt had heart disease, there's more of a chance that you'll have heart disease. It's not exactly true, but we're not going there today. But that's kind of what we think of, right? We think of things in terms of what our family members, what our ancestors passed down to us in terms of health. But did you know that our DNA actually stores memories from our ancestors in terms of trauma? So, not just diseases and stuff like that, not just hair color, eye color, but trauma as well. In fact, there was actually a study that was done with women who were pregnant during the time that 9/11 took place, women who were there, who survived 9/11. They had their saliva tested and it showed low levels of cortisol in their body after the saliva test. And that is an indicator that they had PTSD. That's incredibly sad, right? Well, they followed these women after their pregnancies and they ended up testing their babies as well. They did a swab, they tested their baby's saliva. Guess what showed up? The same low levels of cortisol in the baby's body. So the baby wasn't even born when 9/11 happened. They were in their mother's womb, but they were still getting all of her stress hormones. They were still feeling her feelings, and their bodies still had PTSD from 9/11. And it's like this type of trauma is not just passed from mother to child or father to child. It goes back 14 generations at least. We retain 14 generations worth of trauma in our bodies. So if you're going through any sort of like financial problems right now, if you're struggling to save money, if you're struggling to make money, if you've got anxiety around survival, around what am I going to eat? Am I going to have enough food? Even if you are making a decent amount of money, if you just have constant anxiety over like whether or not things are going to be all right. Maybe you grew up in a pretty stable household, so you're like, I don't even know where this is coming from. You know what? It could be coming from your great, great, great grandfather who was struggling in his household, whose family didn't know if they could put food on the table every day. It could be coming from your great aunt. You know what I mean? It goes back so far. And so these are issues that we need to clear in our bodies. These are things that we need to tackle in order to get to the next level in our own lives because they do subconsciously affect us. Speaking of the subconscious, reason number two is subconscious programming. Now, scientists believe that 95% of our thoughts every single day are just repetitive, programmed thoughts. Only 5% of our thoughts every day are conscious. So you're basically just running on a program. You're running on an old tape recording every single day. If you're not paying attention to your thoughts, that's what your mind is basically playing. That's what it consists of every single day. And basically, what is subconscious programming, right? Well, our subconscious programming starts in the last trimester of pregnancy. So it's around, they say, month 7 months gestation in our mother's womb to 7 years old. So it's no wonder that during that experiment where they tested the women's saliva and then they tested the babies, it was the mothers who were closer to that 9-month due date. It was their children who tended to have more signs of PTSD in their body because from the time that we're 7 months old to 7 years old, our subconscious mind is being programmed. This period of time is the most intense part of our programming, and it's kind of why kids are like sponges as well. They pick up everything around those years, right? But like that's kind of the reason why you could be like 4 years old And you probably don't even remember this, but you could be like 4 years old, sitting at your table, eating a little cereal, and your parents could be yelling at each other over the bills. They could be stressing over the mortgage, and you don't even know what that stuff is. You're just enjoying your cereal. But you know what? All of their anxiety, all of their tension and stress, that's all getting programmed into your subconscious mind. If you've ever heard your parents say from 7 months old to 7 years old that, like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. My mom used to always say, it's not easy. It's not easy. I hate that affirmation. It's horrible, but like, just like life's not easy. That's kind of what it is. She's Jamaican, so it's like a saying in Jamaica, but it's one that I really didn't like. And it just, like, all of these old sayings that your parents might have said, they get stuck in your brain. They get imprinted on your subconscious mind, and they stay with us for the rest of our lives. So that's reason number two. Reason number three, the last and final factor, is your environment and your experiences after the age of 7. So everything that you go through after the age of 7 years old is going to kind of back up what's already been imprinted into your subconscious mind. So if you have an imprint in your subconscious mind that, like, life's not easy, money's so hard to make, oh, stress and bills, and oh, how are we ever going to pay all this stuff, right? I'm using money as an example because we talk a lot about, building a better life for yourself through financial means, through like passive income, and just creating your best life through financial freedom. So that's why I'm using this as an example, guys. Really, this goes for anything. This goes for health. This goes for trips. This goes for your love life. This goes for relationships, friendships, everything. But the point I'm trying to make is that all of the things that you go through after the age of 7 are going to just further back up what's already been imprinted in your subconscious mind, and then it's going to solidify it for you. It's going to validate it for you. So you're going to feel like, yes, this is true. This is how life is. So those are three main reasons that you could be struggling in your life right now subconsciously. It's like you're fighting your programming and you don't even realize it. And so, what we have to do is we have to tackle our programming. We have to reprogram our minds. We have to rewire our subconscious thinking in order to get what we want in the physical realm, get what we want in the physical world. That's kind of the reason too why, like, entrepreneurs, a lot of them that come to us, they'll they'll tell us all the things that they do, right? Like all the things they do for their business, and how they're just not seeing any more money. And so I'm going to actually give you an example from our own lives of how subconscious programming has negatively impacted us in business, like me and T, right? All right, so I don't know if many of you know this. We don't talk about it too much. We talked about it more on our old channel, but on our old YouTube channel, but I'm going to tell you here. So T and I had an Etsy store back in like 2019, and we grew it to, no, I think we started it in 2018 and then it lasted until 2019. We grew it to 10K plus per month. We went up to like 11 or 12K, I can't remember. But we did that in like under a year and a half, right? Working on it part time. And it was just the easiest, funnest thing ever. And we were like, before that, prior to that, we had so much debt. We had so much debt from our retail store business. Our money was tied up in products. We had credit card debt through the roof. And so when we started this Etsy store and we really got it popping off, we cleared so many bills. It was just so wonderful. We made such life-changing money, and we got ourselves in such a good financial position. But then, our mom kind of reminded us, hey, you guys have all of these products though, and what about the money that's tied up? And she started to reawaken all of these fears in us, and we felt so nervous suddenly. We allowed all of this, all of these negative thoughts to reawaken our subconscious programming that, like, there's scarcity and lack, and what are we going to do, right? So we ended up, doing foolishness. I'm going to be honest, we ended up doing foolishness, and we shortly after that we lost our store. We lost the whole thing. They shut it down on us. And it was actually just a misunderstanding that had taken place. We didn't actually do anything wrong, but because we put up a certain product, Um, Somebody thought that it was an illegal product, a product that wasn't licensed, it wasn't true. They realized their mistake. They tried to contact Etsy and tell them, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. I flagged down the store for no reason, but it was done. Etsy said, we don't even care. It's over for them. We don't care. So we lost everything for no reason, just out of fear, out of being afraid. If we had just said, hey, mom, we'll try our best to get our money out of the physical products that we still have on hand, but if we can't, then we can't. Let's move on, right? If we had done that, we'd be sitting at maybe 20K months now with that old Etsy shop, but we didn't. We lost the whole thing out of fear. This is what I always tell people. I have never made a smart decision when I've been terrified. I've never made a smart decision out of fear. I've never made a smart decision when I've been stressed and desperate. Never. I don't even think it's possible. I don't think most people are capable. It's because your frontal lobe shuts down. That's your rationality. Your rationality is gone. Suddenly you're on survival mode. You're doing all sorts of crazy, stupid things because you're afraid. And that's kind of what people are unconsciously operating on most of the time, that subconscious fear and doubt and lack. And then we do stupid shit. And then we say, hey, how comes our manifestations don't work? Because you're not operating in abundance and happiness. When we're high vibing, my sister and me, when we're high vibing and we get business ideas, things work out. Things tend to work out real well. When we're like, oh my God, we have to make a dollar, we have to make a dollar, that's when shit doesn't work out. That's when things go wrong. That's when you lose more than you had in the first place. Just something to consider. We're actually thinking about doing some kind of like workshop or some kind of event or course or something just to kind of help people to get the ball rolling, to get started on deprogramming your mind. Because I swear it is the number one factor in terms of success. Like, in terms of success for anything, if you don't have your mind right, it is really hard to accomplish anything. And some people think it's woo woo. Some people think, I don't care. I want the strategies. I want the how to make $1,000 a day. You know, I want that strategy. But it's like, you're not going to even be able to keep that if you don't reprogram your subconscious mind. You know, like you can give someone $1 million. Like that's the reason people win the lottery all the time. And they say on average, after 5 years, they lose it all. After 5 years, oftentimes they're in a worse position than they started. And it's like you can't just dump a bunch of money on someone and think that's going to solve, for example, you know, financial issues. That stuff's in the mind. I could go on with examples of people I know who have come into a lot of money and they were just terrible with money. It's mindset. So, yeah, if you do think that you could benefit from some kind of subconscious reprogramming, which everyone really can, unless you're working on it consciously, then everyone really can. Definitely make sure to follow us on our podcast, follow us on our Instagram, and check out our YouTube channel. I'm going to try to leave a link as well somewhere for our email list, our VIP email list, and we'll update you. We'll give you some information because it's our subconscious programming that creates our limited beliefs. I don't know if you're aware of limited beliefs, but those are the beliefs like, oh, I'm not good enough. Some people are just lucky out here. Those type of limiting beliefs, they're created during that 7 month to 7 year time period when our subconscious mind is being shaped and our minds are basically being wired for the rest of our adulthood. It's during that time. So, yeah, enough rambling from me. I hope that you learned something in this podcast. I just needed to get this out there for anybody who needs to hear it. Hope you've considered what I've said today, and I hope you know that you can change your life. Like I truly believe that there's enough out there for everyone. We can all prosper, we can all win, and it's my mission and T's mission as well to help as many people as we can. So, anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.